Hello, Instagram and Art Central and all the screen printers and artists out there. My name is Alden Knight. Hey, Angelo, how's it going? Glad we got somebody here. So I'm just going to be chatting about screen printing today. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to type them below in the comments or anything. Glad you're stoked. Me too. These are fun. And thank you for getting the shirt. That one is on its way to you. I really appreciate the support. It's awesome to have people reach out before we got this going. So I'm just going to be talking about screen printing a bit. If I heard right, we had another Speedball demo specialist come on who actually did a printing demo and went through a few of the ways that we make screens, how we print, maybe the actual printing process. So, hello, we got another person. Thanks for being here. So we're just going to be talking about screen printing. If you have a question, feel free to throw it into the comments. I'll mention that a few times as people come in or leave. So a little bit about me. I'm a screen printer. I have a company called Odd Pedals. I started screen printing so that I didn't have to pay anybody to make my band's merch anymore. And then turned it into a business. So now I get to print all the time. So I do t-shirts, I do posters. I primarily work with a lot of bands, artists, musicians, businesses, anybody who needs art put on something. Hey, we got another person. Glad to have you here. Feel free to reach out with a comment as we keep going. You'll probably get sick of hearing me say that. So to start off, I'm going to show you a few of the prints that I have done. Just some poster prints, all done with Speedball inks. So I do a lot of different stuff. A lot of CMYK prints. I love doing CMYK. It's a really fun process where you're only using 4 different colors to create just an insane variety of colors, and it is so much fun. All of this is all done with Speedball inks. This is one of our older ones. I love doing sunsets and that kind of stuff with the CMYK kit from Speedball. Specifically, they also have a fluorescent CMYK kit. And that one makes some wonderful colors. If you're using that fluorescent kit, your reds won't be quite red because you're not using as red of a magenta as some others do to get like this kind of a red. But straight out of the can, their fluorescent CMYK kit looks really, really cool on prints. So stoked to have everybody here. So I'm just going to keep going. So now I've got a couple, these are all canvas prints. I do a lot of printing on canvases, making patches for bands, a lot of DIY stuff. I do a lot of experimental screen printing. This is one that I just did on a run of shirts, and this is actually a giant sticker. You can just throw some vinyl or sticker material down on the press and have a totally different thing than if you're making shirts. Screen printing really allows you to do a lot of different stuff. And then this is one of my favorite ways to nerd out printing is I go on hikes around town and find leaves, and I use them to make stuff. So I actually find leaves, tape them to a sheet of transparency, and then put that transparency in front of the screen when I'm flashing it to create a screen that has all of this in it. So it all is made of, every part of these is leaves just stacked up on top of each other. But you get unique prints that you can't really make any other way. So that's a lot of the kind of art print stuff I do. I also do a lot of t-shirts, but right now our print shop is remodeling, so I can't show you the shirt part. But I'm going to go over some of the Speedball kit that we've got for screen printing. So a few of the ways that we can Oh, thanks. Found materials are such a fun way to print. It is a really fun way to print. Specifically, speaking of found materials, there is an artist named Chris Estrada who goes by Farewell Transmission on Instagram, and he's another screen printing, or maybe a lino cut demo artist with Speedball, and he does a lot of like found item or purposefully like distressed textures and stuff. Really cool printing. Definitely worth checking out. So real fast, I'm gonna go over, unless anybody has questions, ways to make screens. Because the Speedball kits come with kind of a few different ways to do it. And if you are already on here, you're probably checking out like DIY videos on YouTube, how to do things. So a couple of the basic ways that Speedball does it, which are all really genius, is they make and here we go, it's a drawing fluid and screen filler. So with that one, you actually just draw this blue stuff right onto the screen. You cover it up with the filler, and then when you wash it out with water at the end, all the filler stays and all the drawing liquid is gone. So it's a really cool way, like if you want to make a screen that day by hand, put some words on there, do something like neat and easy, that is a great way to do it. Another easy way to do it is to do cut paper. And so for this one, you really are just using paper, cutting it with a X-Acto knife, scalpel, something sharp. Mine's a little dirty, as you can see. And then you tape that to the bottom of your screen, and you can actually push ink through it. It's not going to hold up quite as long as this one. Like this one is really coated onto the screen. So this one, you're going to get a few great looking prints, and then eventually that paper will get a little moist, or you may just get little distress stuff. But you know, distresses and small mistakes and little accidents are all part of what make printing so fun and what make people love the little intricacies of seeing how something is handmade. So another way that Speedball helps us make screens is they make a photo emulsion. And the photo emulsion method, if you are familiar with it, is really neat. It's like science, chemistry. It's UV lights and an emulsion that you put onto the screen. You let it dry. So you put a good coat on there, let it dry. And then you put on a transparency, and you're going to flash that with a bright UV light. And so Speedball actually sells one that is awesome. We also have like big exposure units, but these ones are great. If you're starting at home, the Speedball lights are wonderful. And that was what we used to make these screens. So you're just going to flash it onto the screen. And then when you wash out the rest of it with water, you're going to have an actual screen all set to go. Now this one, out of all the methods that we've shown, this emulsion will last a long time. You can do a whole bunch of prints with it. When you're all done with it, if you're using the water-based inks that they sell, you can wash those out of it, dry your screen, use it again later. I love photo emulsion. It's a little bit trickier to work with, getting it down, like how long you need to flash it with the light. Little things like that will take you some practice, but once you get it down, you'll be so happy that you have that screen with you just forever. And then another way that we do it, that is not with stuff that Speedball sells, but I am using one of their screens and their little printing kit with the kickstand. I love these things. Is that you can use cut vinyl. So this is just a sticker vinyl, the same vinyl that I used to make that guy right there. I made this with a Cricut, a little Cricut cutter machine. I love that thing. Lets you cut vinyl decals, do all kinds of stuff. So you put this onto the bottom of your screen, and if you are going to do this method, be sure that you mirror your image if you need to make sure that, you know, since that's right side up, once it goes to the other way, it will be backwards. But this way is great. You can make a lot of really cool stuff. The vinyl definitely holds up for a little bit. You're pressing against the backside, so it can come off. Like, yeah, you saw a little bit, maybe right there, that little spot just come off. 3M makes a really good vinyl. Cricut does make a vinyl. You can get them from McLogan online. Honestly, Art Central, talk to them. They might sell vinyl, and if they do, you can cut it by hand and you can make really cool stuff as long as you have some transfer paper to get it onto the screen. So yeah, those are most of the ways that we make screens. So if you do choose to do the photo emulsion method, you're gonna get one of these handy metal scoop coaters, and they're really fun. Once you get it down and you learn how to make a screen and you coat properly, you will be so happy that you know how to do it. And remaking screens, coating screens, it feels great once you do it. But yeah, I love the photo emulsion method. Once you've got that emulsion on there, it's really gonna last a bit. But you are going to need to, give it time to dry the first time and then flash it. And then you're going to need to give it more time to dry. So if you're trying to have a project like in an afternoon that you start with opening the kit, the emulsion one is going to be a little harder. You want to do that one maybe like over a weekend. Open it at the beginning, let it dry overnight that first time, and then work with it the second time. Give yourself a little more time and don't rush the emulsion, because if it's not dry enough, before you try to flash that screen, it can get a little wet. You can kind of lose details, but this emulsion is so easy to work with. You are going to love it. It's great stuff. So those are a few of the ways that we make screens, and you can do really cool stuff with that process. If anybody, again, has questions, it's so nice to see people here, and thank you for being here. If anybody has questions, please let me know. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is how to take a one-color screen and stretch your effort so far as it'll go. You've made that screen, you've got the emulsion down, or you've already cut your paper, or you've already drawn on your fluid, or everything. You've put that effort into it, and then you finally have this screen all ready to go. You've got that one color down, and you're stoked to make things. So you can pull the one color and it'll be really cool. But if you want to switch it up, make things interesting, make really unique individual prints, a fun way to do that is by adding in a color gradient. People call them rainbow rolls. People call them split fountain. There's a couple different names for it. I'm sure the different names for it come between what kind of printing you're doing. Some of those names are probably from letterpress or block printing. But you can do the same thing with screen printing. So when we printed these, as you can see, we just put a little bit of blue ink and then a little bit of red ink. And at very first print, you can see these little details in there. They're not going to be quite mixing in together, but that's all right. But even in that first print, you start seeing them blending a little bit. So, and then we get our next print. And the more you pull them through, the cooler they're going to look. So this is a one color screen, and already you got two colors, now, verging on a variety of 3 to 4. And then you can do some other really fun stuff, like I personally love Speedball's glitter inks. I'm a total sucker for the gold ink and the silver ink. If you mix both of those together with a little bit of their orange, you can make a really cool copper. I love the way these ones look. They have a really cool effect on them. And we made these prints so you pull it a couple times, get your collars running, get them flooding in together, and then you're just going to take your ink and you're just going to drizzle it over with a popsicle stick, a pencil, anything, just to create some little spots on there. And then once you pull the ink across, you get a completely unique print. Once those colors blend together even further, you get totally different effects. So like this one, you can see once we added that yellow gold, we got all of this warming and, green shades coming in. And every single print with these is going to be unique and different. And it is all with a one color screen that is all available at Art Central. You can get them all through Speedball. Making these screens is so much fun. They've got all the stuff to help you do it. And we wanted to mention that they're actually doing a sale on photo emulsion, the good stuff, the fun stuff that you want to learn to do so that you can keep these screens and keep using them over and over and over. And that code is going to be Code Alden, all one word, CODEALDEN. And they're going to give you 30% off of photo emulsion at checkout. So check out Art Central, go to their website, get some photo emulsion. At the end, put in Code Alden, and you'll get a great discount. It's a pretty cool deal. So yeah, Speedball makes a lot of really cool stuff. Once you get into it, you're going to learn about their different packs that they have. For instance, you're going to want to pay some real close attention to that shirt logo and that paper logo right there. These all look like the same colors, but they are very different inks. The shirt ones that we're going to be using, they could use some heat to cure them on there. There's a couple ways to do that. There are some wonderful videos on YouTube or the Speedball sites that will teach you how to cure that ink. Their paper inks will just dry, an hour, not too long, and they will be just fine on there. If you try to use shirt inks on paper, you get some interesting results. It'll totally print. They will be a little bit tacky. I've had some prints stick together over a long period of time, but great inks. They're wonderful to work with. They're wonderful to print with. Easy to use. I love Speedball's water-based inks. Their poster stuff. These are little ones. I use the actual gallons of all of these, and we print posters for big artists, famous artists, like actual poster designing printers for like Live Nation. This stuff right here, that professional black that is scuff resistant, I love this stuff. Favorite black. I love printing with this black. It is easy to print. It's not too watery, not too thick. It is absolutely my favorite. And then they also sell, if you want to get into it, so over here we have our light hinges, and then you get their heavy duty Jiffy hinges. And this is what I use on everything. I actually build presses and I stick these on everything. I've tried a bunch of different brands over the years, and I keep coming back to this one set of Jiffy clamps by Speedball. They are heavy duty. They are great, like really well made. That is some really heavy metal. I love these things. They're gonna last you for forever. Totally worth getting if you are getting into poster printing, because it's really nice to be able to just lift up a screen and keep going. And I just saw there's a question. For multicolored prints on tees with water-based inks, what's the best way to keep from drying in the screens, water or retarder? Good question. Since you already know about retarder is great. I'm gonna flip this around now because we've got, a little over 10 more minutes, and we can do all questions, whatever you'd like to know. Retarder's great. Speedball sells a couple additives that you can add to their inks. The retarder will help it last a little longer in the screen without drying, for sure. Honestly, in my experience, the biggest factor for you is going to be, what is your room like? Are you in a place that is really humid? Is it really dry? Do you have fans running? Is it really hot? That kind of thing will definitely affect the way that you're printing. If you're doing shirts with water-based inks, stuff like using either a 110 or a 160 mesh will help. As soon as you get up to 230, you can get great detail, but unless you are just hitting it and you keep going, it's gonna dry in the screen and you're gonna have some issues. Water. You can squirt water over. My only hesitation is with it is even with the finest mists, sometimes you get a little dab of water and it can get into your into the screen, and you pull one and you see where it's wet, and then all of a sudden you want to clean it up. But I'm highly picky about my prints. When I see little wet spots and stuff, I totally go back and want to clean up the whole screen. But there's also printers who don't do that at all and make really cool looking stuff. So using water can help get a really fine mist. I would test it not directly over your screen first, just to make sure it's really misting, and don't do it straight into it, or else you're going to get some wet spots. But if you're doing it squirting just generally over the screen, it should be fine. Especially, you want to flood it first so that the ink is going across there, so that your water is falling on top of the ink and not falling onto your screen that is then going to have ink pushing water across it, because then you can get some squishes. But retarder will definitely help the longevity of your ink on there. If it's really hot in the room, speed kind of is on your side. If you are using white water-based inks, totally different story. Because as soon as you're using white, you want to throw in a flash if you can. If the word flash is not familiar to you. When you're printing white shirts, you want to lay down, you want to hit the white once, and then hit it with heat so that your ink will just barely dry enough that the next bit of your ink is going to sit on top of it, so that it's not going to be wet trying to get more wet ink on it. But if you like Speedball's white water-based ink for shirts, I love it. Looks really cool. You can do one pass of it on black and it looks like a really neat gray, and you can hardly feel it. If you can cure it and you can hit it a couple times, the opacity is great. You got a great white, really soft print that is wonderful. Color prints for my clients. Yeah, for real, man. I feel you. Going to the next step of multiple colors it's really fun. Do you have a one color press, or do you have a multicolor press? Do you have a flash dryer? What kind of stuff are you working with? Moving on to the next ones. If you have questions about registration, doing multiple color prints, and what computer programs to use, how to set them up, how to set up registration marks and that kind of things, feel free to send me a message at Odd Pedals. Or my email is oddpedalscreative@gmail.com. You can send me questions too. A little busy with the remodel, but I will always get back to questions as soon as I can and let you know the best way to do it. Got a single and looking for a multi. Craigslist. I've gotten all of mine. I started with a one color press from Ryonet, their like simple intro kit, and then used that to get enough money to buy a 4-color press, then got a 4-color that actually spins, and then just got a 6-color, and you can use each of those presses to bump up to the next one, for sure. And once you get into multiple color printing, you're gonna have a blast. Just get a good flash dryer. Craigslist is awesome. One of the best and biggest bummers about COVID is how many shops have gone out of business. A lot of shops have gone out of business. And then a lot of shops are also buying stuff from other. I just upgraded my press because a guy bought a press from another guy who upgraded his press because another guy upgraded his press because another shop went out of business. So a lot of stuff is moving around on Craigslist right now. I think the first time I spent about $1,000 got a whole, like an infrared flash dryer, the 4-color press, all kinds of stuff. But when you get into it, you're gonna have a great time. All of that, the water-based inks, you can do it all with Speedball. They're so easy to use. They make so many basic colors that you can mix anything you possibly want. There's some other cool, ink companies out there, but Speedball really makes, in my opinion, the best inks. Their water-based inks on shirts are the most opaque. I'm sure Art Central sells some other cool stuff by other brands, and I'm sure you might be able to do cool stuff with it. I'm sure, of course, you can. But I've loved all this Speedball stuff. When I started, I was like, Speedball is this great beginner company, and then I started working for real poster printers and getting bigger jobs and going into bigger shops, and I look on their shelves and they are full of Speedball. And if you are on printing forums and there's guys, saying, I only do high-end 10 color posters and I use TW inks for everything and all the fancy stuff, I guarantee you, like, they'll show a shot of like their shop and there is Speedball on their shelf. Everybody has Speedball on the shelf. Their base is amazing. I love using their clear base and just adding colors to it. Their regular colors straight out of the can are so opaque that you can mix that base into it and your prints are going to last a little longer. Actually, speaking of the retarder, if you're doing poster prints and you're using that clear base, you can use a little of that, and since it's less pigmented and it's more just moisture and just the base ink, it's not going to dry out as fast. So like you can mix even if you're mixing different opacities of colors, that's a great one to use. I'm going to show you a print where we did exactly that because it's really fun. So since you guys are in LA, I believe, there's an artist down there named Dave Clock. Dave Clock used to make all the posters for the comedy spot The Meltdown, and works with huge bands. So one of the coolest things that I ever got to print and that he made and designed is this one. So this is all with Speedball inks entirely. No way, I'm from Michigan? That's crazy. Are you a hockey sandwich guy? Because, come on, those are the best. If you're following them, man, yeah. Good times. Everybody seems to know from back there. Seems to be awesome. So this is a print that I got to do for him. So the craziest part about this print is that this is a 3-color print. And you have, in the way he designs it, your background color, 1. You have your transparent gray, 2. You have your other transparent gray. There's your 3. Then you have the overlap of both of them on top of each other, which is 4. And then you add black on the end. So you get a crazy multicolored print. And all he's doing is figuring out, like, right here, that color and that color are going to go on top of each other, and it's going to make a darker black. And that is so smart. It's so smart. It's really just such a clever way to do less work with screen printing and make your work go further. And all of this you can do with Speedball. This entire print was made with with a gallon of Speedball, just regular transparent acrylic ink and black. And we made this whole thing. That's it. Those were the only 2 that went into this. And you get all these different colors. So check out the stuff that Speedball has available. Check out all the stuff they have at Art Central because you're going to find some neat stuff. If you think that looks cool with just black, throw in a couple different colors of transparent ink into their colors of ink and see what happens to those when they go on top of each other, because it's really cool. I'm just going to show you another one where we did that. So this is another one. Throw in a little bit of transparent base and you get all your colors mixing together. And they look really neat. You get way more variety. Throw 3 different colors over each other and you get a color that you didn't even print. You get really gorgeous stuff. And this is all just water-based inks. If you do want to try printing on canvas with water-based inks, I'd recommend using either a 110 or a 160 mesh screen. If anybody here has questions about mesh, about Speedball products, about the differences between shirts and posters. If anybody wants to know about plastisol, if that's a word you've ever heard. Yeah, he's an incredible dude. And just, yeah, great folks in LA. That's awesome, dude. That's so cool that you know all them. If anybody's just tuning in or saw that last print, Dave Kloc, Kloc. His work is mind-blowing, and he's just making art for, like, the greatest rock bands in the world now, and, yeah, really cool. Art Central is in San Luis Obispo. Thank you. Hey, it's Spencer. I'm so glad to hear it. So we're at the end of the half hour, but again, so Art Central, thank you so much for doing this. Again, for anybody interested in photo emulsion, go to their website. At checkout, put in code Alden, and you will get 30% off of their emulsion, and you're gonna have so much fun working with this stuff. Okay, I saw a really cool print online like today where a guy posted a photo of a shirt, and he was like, here's a screen that I made 20 years ago and I'm still printing with it. And he left the screen in his closet and came back to it later. The photo emulsion you're going to have so much fun with. Make a screen, keep them for later, make a whole bunch of things, throw colors together on there. Get a bunch of blank white shirts at a thrift store and just throw your screen on top of it and try making stuff. It's how people make a lot of cool streetwear. People make a lot of really neat, just cool stuff. The possibilities are endless with screen printing. If you want to know more about screen printing, Instagram hashtags are amazing. You will find a lot of really cool people doing cool stuff. I learned most of what I know through YouTube University. There's a lot of great people doing stuff out there. And Speedball makes videos for just about all of their stuff. So if you have questions about this, you can hit up Spencer and the good people at Art Central. If you have any questions about the Speedball stuff, really cool company, really small. They have like a factory in North Carolina, and they make everything there. And they have like a chemist who's like their chemist across the board. So if you call them, you're going to get like the same 2 to 3 people picking up the phone every time. They're all really nice people. They would love to help you. They would even like to know if their stuff has problems. One time I got one of their inks and it had little bits of like white pigment that just hadn't mixed in. And I was like, I tried to pull it and it had these little things in it. And they sent me like a gallon of the stuff and a couple screens. And we're like, thank you for using our stuff. And thanks for letting us know what the can was and what the number on it was so that we could fix it. So Art Central and Speedball, trust all the people. If you have questions, reach out to them. They are great resources. They'll be happy to help you, or they can point you to me. Again, my name is Alden Knight. I'm a screen printer. My company is called Odd Pedals. I'm just Odd Pedals on here. If there was anything I talked about today and you want to know more about it, feel free to shoot me a question. My email is oddpedalscreative@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer questions. If they're long, I'll answer when I can get around to it. I'll send you links to things. I started printing in a side room in my apartment and made screens in my shower and drove my neighbors nuts. And now we have like a whole shop. So it all started for me with Speedball. You're all going to have a great time with it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the time and support. I've got an Etsy page if you want to check out more of my prints. Anything I showed you on the table today is available there. You can actually zoom in on things if you want to know how I made them. Just reach out. I would be more than happy to answer. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for being here. It was really fun having everybody. I hope you learned some things. Yeah. Happy printing. Hit up Art Central. Go support your local art stores, especially right now, because they need you and everybody else is going to Amazon. But these are the people who are actually reaching out to artists to get info out there and help people and meet new people. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to Spencer and Art Central for having me. Angela, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Tag me in with a photo of you with the shirt whenever it shows up. I threw in a few stickers and stuff too. So yeah, hope you all have an awesome day, great rest of your weekend, and happy printing, and I'll see y'all soon. All right, thanks.